your Apples, Googles, and all that, they're basically like treasury bonds. Like, how do you not view them as quote unquote safe? And I know that's a terrible word for our business, but you know what? When shit hits the fan, why wouldn't you buy one of the biggest, most powerful, comfortable names there is? Yeah, if the market tanks, they're going to sell off as well. But I don't know. It's just the big dogs are going to continue to get bigger and attract capital, and we have more money flowing around than ever before. So that's the smoothest sailing right there.
Let's talk about the numbers.
Yeah, I mean they're just goofy.
So
they're unfathomable. It's hilarious.
I mean, again, you put them together. Microsoft, right? What did they report in revenue this quarter?
Oh, 40-some billion for 3 months.
46 billion. Net income over 16 billion. Google, 61 billion in revenue. In revenue over the past 3 months, net income 18 billion.
And Apple says, "Hold my beer."
Apple's like, guys, you have no idea. We're the king of the world, and you're nothing, Microsoft and Google. 81 billion in sales, almost twice Microsoft, and their net income of 21, or close to 22 billion. So let's put this in perspective. You're looking at like close to 190 billion in revenue and $56 billion in net income when you combine those three. Just those three companies. We didn't see Facebook and Amazon, which are reporting tonight, right? And of course, I'm a nerd and a geek, and I just want to put things in perspective. That's higher than the GDP of Algeria, Ukraine, and Kuwait. And we're talking 3 months. 3 months of sales.
Crazy.
So if you don't think that these companies, they're bigger, how do you generate that much? Like, I mean, people have that much money, and businesses have that much money. I mean, where are they getting all that money from? Unbelievable numbers that, I mean, I would actually say the $180 billion in revenue. I mean, you can go back probably before the tech boom, 25 years or whatever. I mean, I would be surprised if the top 100 companies, or maybe even the top 250 companies, before generated that much revenue for the year. I mean, it's just, to me, it's incredible. But, you're looking at these names, they're going to get bigger and bigger. Have exposure to it. I mean, even if it's like to one or two of these, because again, a lot of these, the Microsoft, Apples are paying a dividend. They're buying back loads of stock. Their balance sheets are like, 50 billion plus to 200 billion strong. I mean, these numbers are just incredible when you're looking at the rest of the market. I mean, IBM has $125 billion market cap, and you're looking at these companies having $2 trillion market caps. Just to put it in perspective, well, IBM was the industry leader 20 years, 25 years, IBM. But, look, the large caps, you have to have exposure to it. It's small caps, you're going to have a great opportunity to buy. I actually, in my newsletter comes out today, my Curzio Venture Opportunities, great strategies. I offered 3 stocks on our watch list. Just said, be careful because they're reporting. And I don't want to buy anything or give any recommendations before they report, because if you beat, you're not getting rewarded. And if you don't, if you have supply chain issues or anything, these names are going to fall 15% plus. And that's what we're seeing where, AMD, I mentioned earlier, there's another company, guys, when you get a chance to listen to the conference call, Dan and I talked about this in the past, Boeing, right? I mean, Boeing reported really good numbers, Dan. I mean, you covered that call, and, that turned out to be an amazing call. They reported actual earnings. Everyone was expecting a loss, right? Yeah,
and, to your point, you've been on the airlines. All those delays and such were basically a when, not if, they were coming back, and that's starting to happen. Their backlog grew. They actually reported our earnings beat. They actually reported our actual earnings instead of a loss like expected. So the stock's up, I don't know, 10, 13 bucks. That's probably a couple percentage on its price. But again, there you go. So you have companies in the airline sector going after Boeing, initiating orders again, and yet then you have these overhanging of, well, what if you have more restrictions on travel and such? So there's a lot of gray area right now. But yeah, Boeing hit it out of the park. That's doing well. And again, the conglomerates are going to continue to do fine. And as you said, they're damn near the only game in town. So what are you going to do if you need an airplane? It's them or Airbus, right?
Yeah. I mean, Boeing, look, you're seeing demand across the board, even though we have the international market still closed. They were saying 2021 is an inflection year, turn the corner on the vaccine. Commercial airplane segment, continual momentum on safely returning to the 737 to service. I mean, seeing lots and lots of new orders. China's recovered to 80% of pre-pandemic levels. But other parts of Asia are further behind. Global fleet is at 80%. But all these guys are going to have to upgrade their fleets. MAX deliveries are starting to pick up. And they had 5,500 MAX deliveries. Now, I'm not telling you to go buy Boeing, but I could tell you something that, if you're looking at an airline where these things are down, the major airlines are still down, not Southwest, but, you're looking at American Airlines, also cited huge demand, Delta. I mean, you're flying on these airlines. You see how crowded, they're all packed. The amount of money you're paying and pricing power is incredible. And this thing's going to get back to normal pretty soon, regardless of how much they're trying to push this Delta bullshit. It's going to get back to normal pretty soon. And I will end on that because, one, it's not just the Delta virus, but it's giving you an opportunity to purchase a lot of these stocks where you're going to see massive demand. Look at parts makers inside Boeing. We recommend a few of those companies probably 4 years ago when I toured the Boeing facility, like do boots on the ground research. There's tons. There's like 80 of them that are publicly traded that are just going to see demand explode and orders explode. And those guys make money as those orders come in. So, depending on when you see that in the supply chain, you're going to look at companies reporting amazing results within the airline industry because there's so many orders. These companies have to upgrade their fleets. You're seeing massive demand in the U.S. You're going to see every country open, even I think Canada, which is like North Korea now, but they finally opened up where, U.S. travel and everything. Got to make sure you're vaccinated. Probably have a big sign around your neck and a shirt saying you're vaccinated, but that's beside the point. But I will end with this because the news out right now is how Pfizer and Moderna are trying to testing where they want to give the vaccine to kids between 5 and 11 years old. Guys, from someone that studied this a lot and from someone who has kids in that range, and my daughter's 13, just to put in perspective, because they don't do this, 3.6 million children in the United States tested positive for COVID so far, and less than 300 died. That amounts to 0.00825%. Be very, very careful if you're going to if your child has underlying diseases or has asthma or something, I get it. But if you're just randomly going to give your kid, I could almost guarantee that more kids are going to die from this vaccine than be safe from this vaccine at that age group. We've seen it that it doesn't affect. I don't know why that they are pushing that so much. I don't know why. And listen, if you have, again, if your child has underlying conditions, that's a different story. And I'm not anti-vaccine saying that not to get it. But that would scare the shit out of me considering watching my kids go to school in Florida the whole entire time. I know it just opened up for some people in a few months, the whole entire time, kids getting it at that age group on my daughter and being able to basically 2 or 3 kids got it and that was it. It didn't spread. I don't know why it doesn't spread, but just seeing that and how they're just pushing this Delta thing, even though if you're vaccinated, you really don't have anything to worry about. You really don't. 95%. They're just pushing it. You're not seeing an incredible amount of deaths right now anymore as well. So for me, when I'm looking at this, it's going to create a buying opportunity, huge buying opportunity. The Fed's not going away. They're going to keep rates low. They're going to continue to buy bonds, and they're all in for another 2 years, which means every time you see a pullback, and that's what I like about small caps pulling back right now, there is inflation in the markets, but there's some names in small caps that are getting nailed. 70% of that index is down over the past 3 months that don't deserve to get nailed. And it's going to provide a great, great buying opportunity, which you're going to see in, Curzio Venture Opportunities and several other newsletters where, I might push a couple of small caps even into Curzio Research Advisory. But for now, the companies that are buying back stock, the larger companies, even the technology companies, there's still buys here. They're still doing great. But I don't know if there's anything else that really stood out to you during earnings season because a lot of companies have reported, especially this week.
Yeah, like I said, there's a handful that, we have portfolio holdings that are going to report. Those are exciting. And then a big watch list to just kind of continue building the thesis, like I mentioned a few there. So don't feel like you have to act on something every single day, but just continue to build your thesis and pay attention. And that's all I can. Hopefully that's educational. I know that's not exciting, but we'll have a lot of fun in the weeks ahead.
Yeah, I people listen to podcasts and are like, buy large caps.
Yeah. Oh, great. I just wasted an hour of my life to listen about Apple.
And I know doing this all my life. Doing it all my life, basically. My dad, 30 years, did it, and I've been doing this for close to 30 years. People love a great story. They love the great story. Like the story they love more than, hey, buy Chubb and they're buying back stock. I got to listen to this podcast. This guy tell me to buy Chubb and Amazon. No, they want these small. You're going to get that opportunity, but first and foremost, you want to be protected because a lot of people, like we've seen with the meme crowd, go in and out of this market and get freaking wrecked. Right? They made money, and a lot of them have gotten wrecked, and then they get the taste in them out, and they're like, "I'm never coming back to the markets." Our job. There's times to go all in, and there's other times where you have to be careful when it comes to small caps. Right now, guys, be careful. Start looking at names and then watch them report earnings. If they come down on bullshit, just, it could create a buying opportunity where you're buying a great name down 35% from its highs. And believe me, there's a lot of small caps that are down more than 30% from their highs. And really on little news, just because there's money flowing out of that sector into large caps. And that's evident from, the money flows at things that we track with Bank of America and stuff like that. And Dan, who else tracks that is Luke Downey.